Let's start with a truth that might sting a little. Most women are more interested in the men they can't fully figure out than the ones who give them constant attention. That's right. In many cases, chasing her too much doesn't win her over. It pushes her away. Welcome back, fellas. Today, we're going deep into female psychology and unpacking something a lot of men misunderstand. What's really going on in her mind when you don't chase her? Because while you might think pulling back means you'll lose her interest, the reality is often the complete opposite. Here's the thing. Women are used to being pursued. Compliments, good morning texts, guys bending over backwards just for a shot. It's nothing new for her. So when she meets a man who doesn't immediately jump into chase mode, she notices. And trust me, it makes her curious. Now that curiosity can lead to one of two outcomes. Either she writes you off as uninterested, or she starts thinking, why isn't he all over me like other guys? What's different about him? And that second thought is where the power shift happens. But this isn't about playing childish games or acting cold for no reason. It's about understanding a deeper truth. Attraction is often built on a mix of mystery, self-respect, and emotional balance. Chasing too much kills the mystery. Not chasing at all shows you value yourself enough to let things unfold naturally. In this video, we'll break down exactly how women interpret it when you're not chasing them, why it works the way it does, and how you can use this knowledge to keep the upper hand without being manipulative or fake. So if you've ever wondered whether pulling back is a mistake or a smart move, stick around. You might be surprised at just how powerful it can be when you don't chase. She wonders if you're different from other men. 1. She wonders if you're different from other men. When you stop chasing a woman, or better yet, never start chasing in the first place, you immediately separate yourself from the crowd. Most men operate from a place of scarcity when it comes to women. The second they get a little attention, they throw all their energy, time, and effort into trying to secure her interest. They text too much. They try to meet up constantly. They overinvest before she's given them any real reason to. That's what she's used to seeing. So when you don't play that game, she notices. Not chasing creates an instant contrast in her mind. She's asking herself, why isn't he all over me like the others? That small spark of curiosity is powerful. It forces her to actually think about you instead of just assuming you're another guy she can keep in her back pocket. Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't about pretending not to care or playing hard to get just for the sake of manipulation. It's about truly having a life, goals, and self-respect that come first. When you genuinely value your time and attention, you're naturally selective about who gets it. That energy is what makes you different, not some fake strategy you picked up online. Women are deeply aware of male behavior patterns. They know when a man is desperate for validation and when he's comfortable in his own skin. If you're not chasing, it signals that you're either not as easily impressed or that you actually have options. Both of those realities make you far more attractive in her eyes. And here's the kicker. When you stand out as the man who doesn't need her validation to feel good about himself, you instantly shift the interaction dynamic. Instead of her being the prize you're trying to win, she starts to consider whether she has to prove herself to you. That's a major psychological flip, and it all starts with not chasing. 2. She tests your confidence. Confidence. When you don't chase a woman, you're sending a silent message. I'm confident, enough to let things flow. I don't need to force anything. But here's the thing, many women won't. Just take that at face value. They'll test you to see if your confidence is real or just an act. These tests might be subtle. She might delay responding to your texts, mention another guy in passing, or act less available than usual. It's not always malicious. It's often just her way of figuring out if you'll crack under pressure. In other words, she wants to see if you'll start chasing the second she pulls back. If you've been operating from genuine self-assurance, you won't be thrown off. You'll keep moving forward with your own life, keeping the same energy you had from the start. This shows her something most men never display: emotional stability. But if you fold, if you suddenly start blowing up her phone or acting insecure because she's not giving you constant validation, you've confirmed that your earlier composure was just a mask. That's when the attraction starts to fade. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded, who can maintain their frame no matter what's happening. If you don't chase her and she tries to test you, it's not a sign that you should fight harder for her attention. It's a sign that you should stay steady, keep your standards, and show that your self-worth isn't dependent on her reactions. The beauty of this approach is that it forces her to see you as a man who's not easily shaken. And in her mind, a man who can't be easily shaken is a man worth taking seriously. 3. She starts wondering what's so special about you, When you don't chase a woman, you flip the script. You're not acting like most guys she's used to. Instead of flooding her with attention, compliments, and constant check-ins, you give her space. That space creates curiosity. And curiosity is powerful. Here's what happens in her mind. She's used to men proving themselves, trying to win her and putting her on a pedestal. But when you're not doing that, she starts thinking, wait, why isn't he acting like all the others? What makes him different? Does he have better options? Is there something about him I'm missing? That's human nature. We value what isn't easily available. If something is handed to us without effort, it loses its shine. But if we feel like we have to figure it out or earn it, our interest grows. By not chasing, you position yourself as the man she has to figure out. And this isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about living in a way where your life is already full. You're not holding back attention as a tactic. You're just genuinely focused on your own goals, your own time, and your own priorities. When she notices that you're not orbiting her, she'll start wondering where your energy is going. She might assume you're busy with work, hobbies, or, yes, maybe even other women. That mystery makes her pay attention. The key is to make sure that the version of you she's curious about is authentic. If she peels back the layers and finds a man who's genuinely confident, ambitious, and independent, that curiosity turns into attraction. In short, when you stop chasing, you're not just pulling back, you're sparking one of the most powerful forces in human relationships, the desire to know more. She tests your patience and self-control. 4. She tests your patience and self-control. When you don't chase a woman, she often won't just sit back and accept it. She'll test you. These tests aren't always obvious. Sometimes they're subtle little behaviors meant to see if you'll crack and start chasing again. Other times, they're more direct, like pulling back even further just to see what you'll do. Why? Because she wants to measure your self-control. Most men can keep it together for a short time, but eventually their emotions take over and they start sending those, hey, just checking in, texts or liking every single post she puts up. The moment you give in too soon, you confirm that you were only holding back as an act. And now the game is over. Women notice patterns. If she senses that you're only patient until you think she's slipping away, she'll know your restraint wasn't real. That's why consistency matters. If you're living your life without making her your sole focus, it should be effortless to maintain that. These tests can come in many forms: delayed replies, random mentions of other men, or even flirting with you a little and then suddenly pulling back. The whole point is to see if you can stay centered, not get emotionally rattled, and remain the man who isn't desperate for her attention. The real win here isn't about beating her test. It's about showing that your value doesn't change based on how she acts. If you let her behavior dictate your mood, she knows she has emotional control over you. But if you remain grounded, she sees you as a man who can't be easily swayed, and that's magnetic. Patience and self-control aren't just attractive, they're rare. And when you don't chase, you get the chance to show you have both. 5. She starts wondering what makes you different, starts wondering what makes you different. When you don't chase a woman, you trigger a reaction she doesn't get from most men: curiosity. She's used to guys showing interest and then ramping it up with constant texts, compliments, and attention. But when you hold your ground and don't flood her with validation, it creates a gap in her mind. That gap is where she starts thinking, why isn't he acting like all the others? Imagine this. She's expecting you to be one of the guys who jump at every opportunity to talk to her. Maybe she even set up the situation so you'd have to prove yourself to her. But instead of playing into it, you keep living your life. You reply when you can. You're polite and engaged, but you don't bend your schedule or priorities around her. That difference is what makes her take notice. The absence of chasing shifts the dynamic. You go from being another guy trying to win her to the guy who doesn't need to. And that's powerful. People, women included, are drawn to things they can't immediately figure out. When she can't instantly label you as predictable, she's going to start paying more attention to you. Here's where it gets even more interesting. She might start reaching out more, initiating conversations, or even trying harder to impress you. Why? Because now she wants to earn your attention. That's a complete flip from how most guys operate, and it's exactly why not chasing changes the entire game. The key here is authenticity. If you're not chasing because you're playing some cool guy act, it will eventually crack. But if you genuinely value your time, your goals, and your own peace, it shows naturally. She'll feel that you're not withholding attention as a tactic. You just have a full life, and she has to fit into it, not the other way around. That's when her curiosity turns into genuine interest. 6. She starts respecting your time and standards, your time and standards. When you don't chase a woman, you send a clear, unspoken message. Your time is valuable and your life doesn't revolve around winning her approval. This alone sets you apart from most men she encounters. Over time, this creates a shift, not just in how she sees you, but in how she interacts with you. Women naturally respect boundaries when they're enforced, without anger or neediness. By not chasing, you're showing that you have standards for how you invest your time and energy. You're not just available whenever she snaps her fingers, and you're not going to bend over backwards to keep her entertained. That quiet confidence is something she can't ignore. Respect often starts where desperation ends, if you're always right. 80. To drop everything for her, she might appreciate the attention at first, but eventually she will take it for granted. On the other hand, if you're selective about how and when you engage, she learns to value those moments more. Not chasing doesn't mean you're cold or dismissive. It means you operate on equal footing. You communicate, you show interest, but you don't allow her to treat your attention like a free, unlimited resource. The less you give away without her earning it, the more it increases in value over time. This makes her interactions with you more intentional. She'll plan ahead to see you. She'll avoid canceling plans without good reason. She'll make sure your time together feels worth it for both of you because she knows you won't tolerate being treated as an afterthought. This is where you stop being one of her options and start being the man she needs to rise up to meet. And that's a position of strength most guys never experience because they give away their leverage by chasing from day one. If you hold your line, she will adjust her behavior to meet your standards because deep down she respects a man who respects himself. 7. You force her to reveal her true interest, When you stop chasing a woman, you create a situation where her real feelings can't hide behind polite smiles, vague texts, or playful teasing. She either steps forward to invest in you or she fades out of your life entirely. And both outcomes are a win for you. Here's why. Chasing keeps her in control. She doesn't have to decide what she really wants because you're doing all the work keeping the connection alive. The second you stop, she has to make a choice. Does she actually want to see you, or was she just enjoying the ego boost you were providing? If her interest is genuine, you'll notice it quickly. She'll initiate conversations, make plans, and even compete a little for your attention. She'll match your energy or even go above it. But if her feelings were lukewarm from the start, she'll stop putting in effort and you'll